Suge was like, yo, you all right? You all right? And Puffy was there. Then all of a sudden I saw Suge. Pow! Smacked the dog out of Puffy.
One thing people gotta realize, it's mother born and raised out here.
Yeah.
You both suspect the mother live out here.
Yeah.
Puffy can give him a mother star, and every rat in the world said he didn't want to kill Tupac. Be smart, son.
The Suge's pretty tall.
He had him way off his feet. The nigga Puff. Look here, look at my feet.
Oh,
His feet was doing
God.
like, yo, you think I'm playing, man? Stop playing, man.
As long as I've been talking to you, you never told me outright that Suge smacked Puff that night.
The music industry is full of clever and greedy people. People who are willing to go to any lengths to get what they want. A name pretty high up on this list is Puff Daddy, aka Diddy. Diddy has made quite a reputation for himself in the industry for being a vile, cunning fellow. He is a cowardly snake who has crawled to the top of the power ladder through treason, backstabbing, and using others, but never confronting a man one-on-one. He's a bully who fears no one. Well, almost. No one except one man, the very dangerous Suge Knight.
At that point, I was scared because I know that the wolves that was with me, they was like real live wolves. And I got in, I didn't get in to hurt anybody. Right. I just wanted to be, I'm from Harlem. Right. I don't want no violence.
Diddy has made a whole empire for himself in the music industry. He has a very successful record label that houses amazing artists. He has a huge influence and can make or break anyone's career. But do you know how he got to this place? It's all because of his cunning and vindictive nature. He is nothing more than a coward that uses his power to bully young men behind the safety of his bodyguards. If there's one thing you'll never see Diddy do, it's fighting like a man. Diddy is the man who whimpers at the sound of a gunshot.
One thing I can say about Biggie Small, he didn't run. He was just standing there. But everybody else around him was running. Even I saw Puffy run under and hid under a car.
He isn't a fighter, that's for sure. He's a scared little man in a big suit. Don't believe me? Just bring out a clown and it will send Diddy flying out of his chair. Diddy also knows he's not made for fights, so he acts sneaky instead. He sends other people to do his job for him, so he never has to stand up in front of anyone. Instead, he can ruin lives from the background. This might not have earned him a lot of respect, but it sure has earned him a great deal of influence. Puffy likes to act all tough and macho, but there's one guy who sends shivers down his spine. Yes, you guessed that right, because Diddy is never going to stand up against Suge Knight. Suge is a record executive just like Diddy, but he isn't one to step back from a fight. Suge fights like a man, and this is why Diddy is terrified of him. Suge is known for being a total gangster who isn't afraid to get his hands bloody. He is very open and vocal about his involvement with gangs. In fact, you can see it in the way he deals with conflicts. He isn't afraid to bring out the guns and blow your brains out if you stand in his way. Mark Curry told an insane story about Suge manhandling Diddy, and Diddy couldn't do anything in response.
But nobody told you about him putting Puff in the chokehold and walking with him backwards.
For a man like Puffy, this should be really insulting and humiliating. But Puffy knows that trying to stand up against someone like Suge Knight is a suicide attempt. Suge would easily snap his neck, and Puffy would be unable to fight him off. In another incident, Suge slapped Diddy right across the face, and once again Diddy made no attempt to get back at him. He just stood there, perplexed.
Pow! Smacked the dog out of Puffy. I'm like, oh, shit.
Keith Murray, in his very animated manner, acted out the whole hilarious scene. Diddy got smacked by Suge, and everyone held their breath to see how Diddy would respond. By now, you can guess how he did. Diddy tried to keep the last shreds of his image intact by acting as if he himself was letting Suge get away with it.
Puffy, paused, look at me. And Puffy was like, yo, that's what I get for being too nice. Being too nice.
But we all know what the truth is. It's that Puffy would rather hide behind his bodyguards and his influential friends to get what he wants. But once the fight comes to his doorsteps, he turns into a little puppy who can't even defend himself.
And I was like, I could blow this thing up right now, Very true. I decided, I just felt it was really dangerous, you know what I'm saying?
A physical fight is the only time Diddy has let Suge disrespect him and get away with it. because he's a coward who can't stand up for himself. In fact, Suge very publicly disrespected him at the Source Awards 25 years ago. Suge openly referred to Diddy in his speech and mocked him, saying, "To all you artists out there who don't want to be on a record label where the executive producers, all up in the videos, all on the records, dancing, then come to death row." But once again, Puff Daddy proved himself to be a spineless man who would take any disrespect but won't have the courage to fight back. He went ahead and congratulated Suge. Yes, you heard that right. Diddy praised Suge right after he disrespected him. Talk about being a coward.
I'm the executive producer that a comment was made about a little bit earlier. But check this out. Contrary to what other people may feel, I would like to say that I'm very proud of Dr. Dre, of Death Row, and Suge Knight for their accomplishments.
At one point, it seemed like the cowardly Diddy might just fight back. At a conference, Suge was reported to be coming with all his thugs and gang members to teach Diddy a lesson. It seemed like Diddy was going to respond this time. But of course, you can't suddenly change a snake into a lion now, can you?
Puff was said to be bringing a massive bunch of New York drug lords and thugs. When it was time for the conference, Puff didn't attend, and Billboard reported that it was due to threats from Death Row.
Diddy and Suge weren't always on such bad terms with each other. At one point, they used to be pretty close. Well, it's because Diddy knows he needs stronger people by his side. But once this friendship fell apart, Puff Daddy realized the power imbalance between them. Suge Knight could easily destroy Diddy, and Diddy had no intention of finding out how. So he does what he knows best: be a coward and leave the ring right in the middle of the fight.
I don't want no violence. I don't want none of no danger.
Diddy is now famous for being a coward who hides behind others to fight his battles for him. He sends guards and assassins to take out his opponents. Be it Tupac in the prison or Biggie Smalls, Diddy has a lot of blood on his hands. He might never confront people one-on-one, but he definitely isn't scared to play dirty. There's so much to say about Diddy's questionable character. Not only is he completely chicken-hearted, he's also a man of loose morals and weak character. He would fall to any heights if it means getting what he wants, even if it means falling to his knees in front of a man.
Diddy and Clive Davis, have they ever had anything past business?
I know some guys who worked personally with Clive Davis, and they had to leave him before they hurt him. If you tried it with them guys, why you didn't try it with him?
There's a lot of speculation that Diddy built himself this empire through such disgraceful activities. Some say he sold his body. Some say he sold his soul. If it's true, it means Puff Daddy even got into a sexual relationship with a man, much older music executive Clive Davis, just to get Bad Boy Records off the ground. Jaguar Wright spoke about Diddy and Clive's relationship very openly. She says Clive runs Diddy. It doesn't really come as a surprise because Diddy would make anyone his god if it means having power, fame, and money.
Clive run him. Diddy don't run himself. But you know, that's how they do in LA.
It looks like this is an open secret in the industry that Clive dictates what Diddy does. And Diddy hides behind Clive's influence and power to get anything he wants. This isn't nearly close to being the worst thing Diddy has ever done. His moral corruption will leave you shocked, so be prepared, because the next story is as horrible as it gets. Puff Daddy is famous for one more very problematic thing. He is interested in boys. You heard it, boys, not men. In fact, he's a pedophile who goes after innocent, defenseless children. One of his poor victims is none other than the singer who was once under his care, Usher. Usher's mom left him at Diddy's place thinking he'll teach the little boy the ropes of the music business. But Diddy was one sly, evil man who abused his trust.
Used to wake up and, pause, but like just out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes, you know what I'm saying?
Diddy accidentally gave away the fact that the two had been sleeping in the same bed when Usher was only 10 and Diddy was much older than him. Does it mean that he had a sexual relationship with Usher? There's a solid chance that the answer is a horrifying yes. It's funny just how terrified of Suge Diddy always looks. It looks like all of Diddy's nightmares have a special guest appearance by none other than Suge Knight. Luckily for Diddy, Suge was sentenced to 28 years in prison. But with every passing year, Diddy can imagine his end approaching. People find it funny that Suge almost seems to have Diddy acting like his dog, who would walk around you with no grace and shame. After all, what grown-up man allows another to drag you around a club? Not one with some shame, of course. One fan wrote, "I see why Diddy hated Suge now, LOL. Suge had him in full Nelson walking around the club." That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.